Hi everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Yesterday, Brenda Flanagan and the Bolivar Chamber of Commerce called a meeting with TxDot to talk about the Highway 124, Highway 87 interchange and the progress they've made and when it's going to be finished. It's delayed a little bit, and we're going to hear now from TxDot along with information on the Bolivar Ferry. So I want to thank Brenda Flanagan and the Chamber of Commerce for getting this meeting together at Hwy's yesterday. It was set up for area business owners so that they could see what was ahead with the holidays and spring break and summer coming up, when everything was going to be done. So listen in. But first, this Bolivar Live is brought to you by the Big Store. When you're on Bolivar and you need anything, stop by the Big Store and you'll be greeted by a staff of smiling faces and a staff that's eager to help you find what you're looking for. If the Big Store doesn't have it, chances are you really don't need it. Listen in now to yesterday's meeting at Hwy's, called together by the Bolivar Chamber of Commerce. Thank you to the Chamber of Commerce for getting us the information we need.
The man, Middleton here. Welcome. And and we've got Dan Perez, Jamal, and Joel Clark here. Thank y'all for coming. Jamal, good to see you again. I think this was just the powers that be were wanting a little quick update on 87, and maybe if you could give us a little update on the ferry and anything else happenings or doing. I will say, I can tell you, the turn lane you all did for us at the Crab Fest and all the way up and down has been wonderful. Nothing but great stuff, and thanks for y'all's cooperation and help in doing that and all that you do for us. So we'll let y'all have it from here.
Well, thank you for having us today. We really appreciate that. We hopefully we can give you some good information as far as what we're doing on 87 and some of the other projects. If you have any questions, Jamal's going to kind of go over kind of up to date on what we're doing on 87, what we've done, and anything in regards to completion and where we're at today. So without further ado.
I just wanted to give you an update on our 87 project. We proposed to raise it to elevate 2.5 feet of elevation with black base. Currently, we are the project led in May of 2018. Our key date is to complete the project, if weather permitting, is May 2020. The project kind of got a little bit slide because of the weather condition and extreme fog and rain issues, so that we had to it got a little delayed. But I think we are on track to finish it by May of 2020. Currently, all the beach protection is 100% complete. We've completed all the beach protection. All the black base is almost 100% on black base, I think, and project is 85% complete. We got only surface layer today. That's 1.5 inches of overlay that's remaining. Guardrail and some of the driveways, because we have to redo the driveways. So those are remaining, some guardrails, and have to be fixed and brought to the new standard. Other than that, I think we are on track with that, and all the beach protection was the coastal protection we did. We dig almost 2 feet below the sea level. We came back with the filter fabric with the inch, 1 foot of bedding material, and then with 30-inch rock, and that has worked really good. We didn't see any water on the roadway and previous high tide events, which was a great thing. We also completed the realignment of State Highway 124. So basically, the main thing that's remaining currently on the project is the surface layer, striping, and some driveways. So hope to get that with the weather permitting, everything finished by May. So, do you guys have any other questions for me? Please go ahead.
The question I'm getting a lot, and it's over to you, is the overlay the final copy? Is it going to be smoother than the surfaces that we're seeing now? Because I'm hearing some complaints about the surface not being as smooth as what they'd like to see. I'm just wondering if the final code is going to be as smooth as what's been done, say, after the High Island Bridge, and what we're seeing from, say, rollover past to here. Is the final overlay going to be a lot smoother surface to drive on?
Yes, sir. This is a base layer just to raise that, and it has a bigger aggregate, and it doesn't drive that smooth. You're going to have exactly the same kind of ride that you're having from rollover pass to ferry. It's a surface layer, and it is for to drive on, so it is going to be smoother. Same quality drive that you're getting from rollover ferry landing.
Yeah, I know everybody's going to be glad to hear that.
Yeah. And your question, sir?
I didn't hear back here. Did you say you have an estimated time when you should phase the overall project?
May of 2020, weather permitting, because normally, you know, that we had a lot of sea fog, and you live here, you know. Yeah, so we don't want to endanger anybody's safety concern. We don't want to have all these lanes closed during those fogs, so that's why we had to delay it, but I think this May 2020 is projected that we can be able to finish striping surface layers and drive it, which should be completed by then.
Jamal, I know y'all are not doing rollover, but there was a bunch of sand delivered to rollover that the GLO did not accept, and word on the street is it was sand that I'm gonna say had contaminants. I'm not sure of that word, but the question is, and that sand's being removed now from rollover and put along the highway. Do you know about that, and can you tell us about it and address any concerns folks might have?
Sure, sir. In fact, I was reached out by Mr. Mays Millington's office as well. I've been emailing, keeping them updated on that. We were approached by GLO to use that material, take that material from, and they basically got that material from county stockpile. And due to whatever reasons, GLO decided not to use that and fill the rollover pass with that. We took the material and tested. We did the testing at our local lab. We tested material for organic impurities, and which the result came to be clear. We sent the material to Austin for their review. Also, GLO third-party lab shared their results with us. And they were acceptable. They gave us the pH factors and all the organic impurities, and everything was shared with us. So we told the contractor that if they want to use, because getting materials for sand here was getting really tough. So we allowed our contractor to proceed after those tests came out clear. But when this one of the residents raised the issue, and I think they reached out to Mr. Millington's office, and they contacted us. We reached out to our environmental section, which they were, and I ceased taking more material from them. We have currently, our contractor is not taking any material from them, and we have marked all the area where they use the material. That has been properly detailed and marked. The area that took the material from that area. And our environmental group is currently testing. The results are not being in from that testing. So we have instructed the contractor not to take any more material from that. Just maintain where they had taken the material and put the material on. So just in case if the results come out not in favor of that, so we can either remove that and clear that material. So that's the most updated status of that. And I'm hoping by end of this week, our environmental section is going to let us know what the results are. As far as our construction labs and testing from the GLO, that has come clear. So that's why we let them proceed. When the resident raised the concern, so we held off and wanted to have more testing.
Extra step we wanted to take.
Yeah.
And if it comes back clear like the first test, then you're going to continue to put it on the highway.
Yes, sir. That's the plan, sir.
Great. Thank you.
It is a cost savings to the taxpayers. We want to make sure we're diligent in how we're addressing taxpayers' money. And they would have to go to Beaumont to get the material. So the material's available here on the peninsula. We can certainly cut costs and save taxpayers' money.
Before we move on from this subject on the east end of the peninsula, so when we had this meeting last year, and an information meeting about what was going on in raising 87, the project completion date was said to be in October. Before October, there wasn't any fog. So with it dragging on until May with this, how sure are we that we're going to be done by May? Because it adversely affects us as business owners here from our core customer group coming from East Texas, Southeast Texas through that corridor. Is there a way to make sure that's going to happen?
Well, we are pushing them to work every day that they can. Haven't suspended time this year. Last year it was pretty, weather conditions were really bad, so we couldn't proceed with. Safety of traveling public is our top priority. We just don't want to injure anybody. I know we care about your business and we want to have economic growth in Galveston and our areas, but safety of traveling public is our top priority. So we had to suspend time because of fog conditions and high tide and all those kind of weather events which were out of control of the contractors. So we had to suspend time. This year we have the weather has been better. And we didn't have that kind of winter, so we haven't suspended time. We are charging them time, so they are very. They have that in mind that they have an end time, and right now May 20th seems to be like the date that we are projecting that it's going to be finished. Plus when we do the surface layers for our base layers, I don't want to get too technical here, but I just wanted to. For our base layer, there's a temperature restriction that if you cannot lay mix on a certain temperature ranges, but for surface layer, it's a little bit more relaxed, so we can lay mix on surface layers when it's a little bit cooler than our what the base layers. So currently, what's remaining is the surface layer, and I think we shouldn't have those temperature issues. We'll be able to compete. We are mindful of the hardship that the community is facing because of this project, and honestly, we want to get this thing done as quick as possible.
I know last year during some of the heavy holidays, July 4th and all that, y'all got with the contractor and having to suspend some of the work because of the traffic, and I was just wondering if maybe 2 weekends, spring break, if y'all would take that into consideration.
We always do that. Yes,
That also causes a slight delay as well. So we want to be mindful of.
Oh, I understand. We can't have it both ways, but
we try. We work with the contractor, but Jamal can kind of highlight.
Yeah, we do. Like you said, yeah, those kind of weekends, deep weekends. I know it's a really big, popular event here, so we have to suspend time. We don't want. That's our prime goal, is not to endanger anybody. Safety is the top priority. Don't want anybody getting hurt. So, we want to get this thing done, and I know it's affecting business.
yes, it does.
But we want safety of traveling public as well. Any other questions?
Feel free to ask. We're here. So.
All right, who's going to ask about the ferry?
So
yeah,
you want to go ahead?
Yeah.
I'm also the public information officer for the ferry, and I'm actually asking for a completion date on the landing project, but that is causing some issues with the medical priority boarding line. There's not a dedicated lane that they have to move some of the lanes and reallocate the lanes. So we're working on that. We did have some this past week. We did have some issues with the fog. We just came across now. They're still running, but they're running a little slower than they normally would because of the fog. We're aware that this past Saturday we had some issues. I was actually monitoring social media, and that's how I learned about it. I was getting some information from our tower folks, but we did we had 3 boats in service, but they were just running slow because of the fog. And we're eventually able to put a 4th boat in service. So we're looking at schedules, making sure we're allocating resources where needed where they're needed. But if there's any concerns, you guys can call me and we can get that issue addressed. We're trying to improve the landing so we can have better access for vehicles, have better access to the ferries. So it is a project. It is a little painful. We know you guys everyone down here has already been through a lot with our 87 project, and we definitely want to minimize the impacts down here. But in order to move forward on some of these projects, and when we have the funding, it's really important to move forward and get the projects going. And we will I don't know if anyone's aware, we are working on we'll have a new ferry within the next few years that we're working on currently. So we'll have a state-of-the-art, up-to-date ferry. We'll start phasing out some of the older ferries, and that tends to add some of the problems. Some of these older ferries, like I said, I monitor weekends, nights. Like I said, I'm the PIO for the ferry, so I get to see a lot of what's going on. And sometimes we have some mechanical issues, and that takes so that when that ferry has a mechanical issue, we have to put it out of service, bring another one into service. So that does take some time as well. So we understand it adds to the frustration of everyone down here, but it's something that I know our ferry director, I work closely with him on that and make sure that we're addressing concerns. When we get them, I see them on social media, and I'm sure you guys everyone down here is aware of some of the issues that we have. We're constantly working to make sure we keep the schedule going.
So with that being said,
Yes, sir.
a couple of things. I'm extremely brokenhearted about all the contractors that weren't able to use their ferry passes, their priority medical boarding passes during that time, because that's a major issue.
Yes, sir.
So, elected guys, can we have the conversation again about offering an opportunity through the TxDot to give us a priority boarding pass if we own property here and pay taxes here? Because the overuse of that program and letting these contractors with their trailers full of paint gear get on that ferry in front of someone that actually needs a priority boarding pass for a medical response it's a major problem.
We understand.
So until we address that directly, it's going to continue to be a problem. And to me, the only logical solution to that is if you own property here, let us pay $500 a year on our taxes or something, so that it benefits you guys, it benefits us, and it makes it where somebody might not want to spend $500 or not have the opportunity to spend $500 to get in front of people.
We're looking at
a reason.
We're looking at different remedies, but we have to stick with them. There was a lawsuit that was filed. Obviously, you may know the history about that. We have to follow what's in the lawsuit. And I know Bill Malini, our ferry director, has looked at different options in our maintenance section. And we can certainly meet. We can coordinate a meeting with our ferry office and our director of maintenance, which oversees the ferry, and we can come up with some kind of solution. But we are looking at the different remedies, but it does take some time. We have to clear it with our folks in Austin and some other sections as well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The lawsuit, I thought, was related to HIPAA, so that's the kind of the problem is we can't really go verify a lot of this stuff. People sign up for the medical boarding pass, but I mean, aren't there some things we can do? I know we need a renewal, right? So that's one way to kind of roll people off that system, but can't we do something like prescriptions where it's got to come electronically from the doctor's office? Because there are a lot of forgeries, I think, that may be occurring. You can't really go verify any of this stuff, but it wouldn't be like the normal channels, like when a prescription is sent to the doctor's office. Like, just some things we can do better to hopefully reduce some of this.
There's some ideas that have been put out there by our ferry director, and like I said, it takes some time to coordinate. Make sure we're clearing that with our folks in Austin, making sure we get with our legal folks, making sure it's within the guidelines that are spelled out in the lawsuit. So we have to make sure we're following that. But we can certainly have that conversation. If you want us to provide an update to you, we certainly can work on that as well. Yeah, we can set up a meeting with our director of maintenance. I know he's been very involved. Mark Woolridge is our director of maintenance, and I know he's been very involved in this process. We get the complaints. I see the complaints.
It's like old paper ballots. There's a lot of fraud.
Yes, sir.
Electronically and
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
No, certainly, we understand it, so we want to make sure we're addressing that. Like I said, but there's some ideas that are in process. We can update you on some of what we're looking at. That's not confirmed yet, but we can certainly look at that and talk about it. Yes, sir.
I'm sure you're understand how irritating it is if a person's a cell phone light is trying to board their got valid, set up a boarding pass, and it way, and this, there's anybody else here, but there was a time last year when we had the motorcycle deal. Well, the sheriff's department did a great service
Yes.
by getting out and checking people's cars. But that's the only time I've ever seen it done. It's particularly irritating, particularly on a big weekend where we have 4 or 5 additional sheriff units sitting around the ferry lane, looking for problems, where one of them can at least be out and checking the car. Never being done. That's something you can do.
That's one of the solutions we've worked with SO on but we can only request. And so I know our ferry directors worked with the sheriff's department, and they've made some impacts and actually taken some of the passes that are being misused. So that's something we've
Well, my question is, I mean, we can talk about this for a long time, not necessarily for 2 years.
Yes, sir.
What does it take, what does it take to get Galveston County and show them that there is a problem that taxpayers over here are concerned
Yes,
about,
sir.
and we're asking for some help?
I believe they're aware. I mean, the sheriff's department, I know in conversations that we've had, they're aware of the issues. And like our folks are limited as well as what they can do as well because of HIPAA.
That's my point, is there's times when we go down there, particularly on a big weekend,
Yes, sir.
but there's as many as 5 water units sitting around the ferry, and every one of them are sitting in the air conditioning.
Yes, sir.
So we have one person, and last year, it was the sanitation department as well, but I think so much, it was the same one that got out every time.
I do know they make the request. We just can't mandate them. Maybe they're under a different arrangement. But if they're willing to, we make the request. We have asked, and they do go out and enforce. I've seen the complaints on social media, and I've seen them on Facebook, and also people, not just the complaints, but also people applauding the effort. So I do know they get out, but like I said, it's a request that we can make. But whether or not they actually get out of the vehicles and make that type of those checks, it's up to the officer that's there at the scene, or at the location. But I can ask to make sure we're repeatedly asking, especially for like the Mardi Gras weekend. We have the weekend coming up, this weekend that we have coming up. So we'll make sure to see if there's any remedies we can provide on a temporary level.
But I'm not.
Before here, let me make one other point. Kind of touched on it, but I tried to travel to Galveston yesterday for an appointment, and I wound up sitting 2 hours before that. I had that.
Yes, sir.
And that was because you only had 2 lanes moving. I tried to go around the French Road way to get a lot of traffic the same route. It was particularly irritating because you saw on one side against that big east side, they were working hard. They had all the equipment going and working like crazy over there. Okay, but then you had all the lanes shut down on the right-hand side, and it looked like you had about 6 people in the contract go around patching the pocket. I think you can do a better job, the contractor can do a little better job coordinating out the work you're doing and keep 4 lanes open. That was the absolute disaster here. These people in corporation, the contractor and TxDot, they have no concern at all as far as traveling public.
Well, you're correct, and
And I thought this morning, okay, because my wife's got to go to the bar. I'm trying to figure out how many hours we got to go ahead of time so we don't get delayed.
Yes, sir.
I'll go check the cameras. Camera drive service.
I have not heard that. I'll check on that for you.
They say 5 days.
Oh yes, that's correct. We did have some, but they were supposed to repair that. That was supposed to be repaired by now. So let me check on that. Yes, sir. I do apologize for that. That was something that was supposed to be corrected, and I was aware that it had been corrected. But I'll check back with our. But that's handled by TransStar, our TransStar folks. I work with. I'll work with them. I'll find out. With them. Yes. Valerie Taylor is our director over there at TransStar.
I have more update on that. That was done by our one of our contractors working in the area on landscaping job on 270 on Ferry Road. So while working during that, they didn't get identified on the line locates, and when placing those trees, so that CTMS cable got broken. So We have, it is on contractors' responsibility to fix them when they break these without the proper locate. So they are coming out tomorrow. They're scheduled to come out tomorrow and fix those cameras. That will be done tomorrow.
But feel free to also call the tower. But if the tower is busy, just they may be overwhelmed with calls. But I always call and they answer when I have a question or I see something on social media. I'll call the tower directly, and they're my eyes and ears. So if you have the tower number, you can put it, you can program it in your phone, and the dispatchers are really good about getting information out.
Well, I suspect the person, and I really appreciate it, I suspect the person that was sitting there yesterday in the midst of that chaos on a presidential holiday, and when anybody else was there trying to rent except for him.
Yes, sir.
A lot of people
Yes, sir.
been in the city.
No, and hopefully you have my contact information as well. I'm on the clock, even after hours. So I tell people they can call me on weekends at night. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, it's something I can get to the bottom of. I don't mind getting involved in calling Mr. Malini or even calling our director of maintenance directly and see if there's something we can remedy. Because obviously I monitor the social media, try to do it around the clock as often as possible. And sometimes I'm out with family or something, but I'll monitor it. And I did see the complaints on there, but feel free to reach out to me as well, and I'll make direct contact to make sure we're getting with the ferry office because that's an issue. We're trying to do some maintenance work down there, but at the same time we're really busy. That's a logistical issue that we can remedy really fast.
So I was just going to say, not to make excuses for the sheriff, but I think the problem is back at the card issuance, and Brad's point's well taken. Everybody's lumped into a medical pass category, and there's no other category. So the mentality, and it's not an accusation, is if you get a doctor's note, we'll get you a pass. But then, so that's what ends up happening with the dump trucks and the lawn people, so you can't decipher who's doing what. We need different categories of passes, which will cut down on the fraud. If you need one for a medical reason, there should be a legitimate doctor's note for that, and it should be screened. If you need one because you're a resident, there should be for that. If you need one because you're an elected official, there should be one for that. But the problem is they say, well, you gotta get a medical pass, and then therefore all these people that don't have medical needs getting these passes. So that's the message we need to take back up to figure out how we can categorize them.
We do have a new district engineer, Eliza Paul, who's recently named our district engineer. So it's something we can maybe include her on and get her in a meeting at some point. Quincy Allen has moved. He's now over all the district engineers for the state, so he's moved to a different position. But Eliza Paul is certainly, we can bring her into for a meeting, and she's very flexible with meeting with folks and getting acquainted with the issues that are faced in particular communities. So we can arrange that for you.
If I might add on that again, I don't think the horse is dead, so I'm going to keep beating it.
Sure.
Mays, I can only imagine, how many levels are involved in doing exactly what you asked for. But does anybody need a pass today? Because I can go out to my truck and get you one. Anybody need a medical prop? Everybody's good? That's how easy it is.
We understand.
I mean, that's the reality of how easy it is. And we can talk about HIPAA, we can do all that, but until we do something about that, we can add this on our taxes, we can come up with a different program. And just because Ken Clark told me not to mix logic with policy, I've never stopped doing it. Okay? But until we do that, do you like Hershey's Kisses?
Sure.
I do. You gonna pay $500 for one? Probably not that much, right? So we'll buy what we need to buy, but we're not going to spend more than we want for something that's a luxury item. Those passes are luxury items that don't cost very much money at this point, and it costs business owners. I'm just a fried shrimp salesman. I have no special expertise anywhere other than where to secure some flour. Sure. But the reality is, it affects our business in the long term. These short-term 5-day visits that people come down and get a bad taste in their mouth because the ferry was doing this or the East End was doing this, and I waited 2 hours to get here to do this, and then I couldn't get off the place to go do. They don't come back next year, or they don't come back with the same frequency that they would, and that costs us a living. We make a living right here, and so we have 6 months to do it, and it's very important that we safeguard that. I just want to make sure that you guys understand that it truly is our livelihood. It's not the visitor. It's not. The folks that are sitting here talking to you right now, this is our livelihood. It's what we do.
But we have to, what I always try to explain to folks is not, you have a point that you're making about your business. We also have folks that come from us in different directions, want us to make changes, and we have to be mindful of, especially when it comes to folks that have the actual passes. We want to make sure that one time we maybe not comply or understand their rights, or that we violate their rights, if you will, then that becomes a major issue as well. So we're trying to be sensitive to the different folks that may be impacted. And that's why I'm telling you, we have something, we can provide more details at a later time. If you want to set up a meeting, then we can certainly, I can bring the ferry folks down here, we can talk about it, and bring our director of maintenance, we can certainly set that up.
That'd be terrific, because the security checkpoint's another completely different conversation to address. But Daryl and Mays, would you guys help us stay on this? Because I'm sorry. I agree with the Tri-Supply or whatever that truck is, that box truck, having a medical route. I'm not worried about their HIPAA rights, because that's bull monkey, and we know it's bull monkey, right?
We get the
what can
complaint.
we do differently at this point to address that in the immediate future? Would y'all discuss that and see what?
That's what I'm saying. The problem is that there's only one pass. And we need to categorize the passes in order to stop the problem.
Well, I would like to figure out a way to cut back the fraud on the medical passes before we start going out and charging residents. So to see where we are, you know, maybe we could come up with something that really works well. We don't need to do that, you know. So maybe work on that first, and then.
And I'm not being that Democrat that says we have to charge more taxes when they can pay more taxes all they want, but I'm willing to pay my share to have that thing.
And I think that was in 2006.
And it's going to be tough for you to get the sheriff to commit to checking these things, because that's your law enforcement agent. But that Tri-Supply truck has no business getting in front of someone that has a legitimate right to travel in that meeting. So,
No, we certainly set up a meeting, and the representative, you want us to go with your staff and set a time and a day, we can certainly arrange that for you. So it's not a problem. We can include some folks in the community. It's not a problem. We have no issue doing that. It's a fair. We want to make sure we remedy and try to address some of these issues. We're aware of them. We get you. Like I said, I handle the social media. I get the complaints all the time.
well, I know you're aware of it. We've been talking about it for years now. So.
And we've asked, we've worked with our folks in Austin on legal restrictions and constraints, and trying to find a solution that keeps us within the lawsuit. Because what will happen is, one of the concerns is the potential for, if we were to do something that violated the lawsuit, we can have an additional situation on our hands. We've got to be mindful of that as well. We want to make sure we're careful when we do this strategically and address the concerns. Because we hear the complaints. You know, I get complaints all the time about someone having jet skis and a surfboard, and well, how would they use a medical priority boarding pass? And you can't, you don't know the condition. You can't ask them. Our security folks, our deckhands, you know, are
When it gets down to that HIPAA conversation, we're all a little bit crazy after sitting in that line for 2 hours.
Yes, sir. No, we understand. No, we certainly understand. It's an issue. So.
Now that horse is dead.
Well, the best I can offer right now, we can set up a meeting and make sure we're addressing that. And that's something we would want to bring. We have the state rep's office and have the different elected officials, and make sure we're including everyone that needs to be at the table. We can certainly address that, and we can work on it together. Certainly, we want to do that.
Ms. Ann, will the chamber continue to follow up?
Yeah, we will, the project will work on the next year.
She has my contact information. If you do have a situation that's arising, let us know, and we can work with the different offices. I mean, I do know that there's days where they try to schedule crews, make sure they have enough crews, and but like I said, we have a break. That's why we're getting a new ferry, so we can minimize those mechanical issues that we have in times. So that does disrupt operations. We have a crew that's on a boat that's not operating. And we've had a few, I can say within the last few months, where we had a boat that was malfunctioning with vehicles on it. So that does, and that crew's stuck on that boat. So they can't, even if we put another boat in service, that crew's still on that one boat. So we'll have to adjust crews to make sure we make it happen.
Well, at next meeting, logically, that you speak about this, and I'm sorry, I had just one more thought. Sorry, Keith. Usually when we make changes, it's because it costs us money. You admitted that when you talked about a lawsuit, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we try to stay away from those. Why not have the consideration of a talk about you guys just putting a ferry in operation just for priority boarding pass people? And then when you have to take on that cost of doing that, and it's completely separate up, no one else can travel on that. And you have to pay for that, it might just change the mind of just how many people are doing that. Or
We're looking at
it may solve the.
Like I said, we're looking at, we're not keeping as if we're looking at different options.
But then also remember that the argument is going to come back from who pays for that ferry,
Yes.
and that's everybody else.
Like I said, we're looking at different remedies, and we'll work on that. We can provide some, when we have a meeting, we can provide some additional details as far as what we're looking at, and what we're leaning towards. But I do know our ferry director is very adamant about finding some solutions and working on minimizing the impact, because I mean, we came up earlier in the priority boarding line was longer than the other ones, and so we see that there's some issues out there, and so we want to make sure we're trying to remedy that, find some solutions.
Well, when Jim Hayes first put in Lagoon Harbor, he offered to pay, had a bill, I forget who it was, and it's $750, and he said the first couple of hundred he would pay for himself. He couldn't get anybody to sign up for it.
Yes, sir.
Want to hear where my knowledge of the priority boarding pass came from?
Sure.
At one time, there was a senator who was previously chairman of TxDot, and whenever we were trying to get a priority boarding pass, of course, the argument really was is that everybody in the state of Texas paid these taxes, and if you attempted to get a priority boarding pass, then why couldn't you give it to everybody? And the lawyers bantered back and forth as to how could we do this without offending everyone in the state of Texas? And the senator finally came back with, why can't we make it a medical boarding pass? So finally, TxDot agreed, you know what, let's try this. And if it doesn't work, we can always just say, the heck with it, you're not getting anything.
Yes, sir.
And so they tried it. And I guess if it doesn't work, they can always come back and say, well, you're not getting anything. But hopefully, you guys can figure out a way to make this work. But that's my knowledge of the history of the medical boarding pass. It was the only thing that they could come up with that could give people a way over here and over there, some way back and forth across that ferry without having to fight that nightmare of a line here in the summertime.
Maybe a question.
Yes, sir.
What is there a similar program at Port Aransas Ferry or other ferries? I mean, do they have medical boarding?
I can't speak on Port Aransas. I'm not aware of what their arrangements are. They're a smaller
They
operation.
do, but it is just
Yeah, they don't
minuscule.
have
I mean, they may have 40 people on that.
Yeah, they have smaller,
Yeah.
way smaller
Well,
operations.
I know, but I mean, it's a similar situation with lines and,
I don't know, it's not anywhere close to
I
something.
thought
I've
maybe
never
there's a
seen a
precedent
line
somewhere else.
at Port Aransas.
I'm sorry?
I've never seen a line at Port Aransas.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's only from here across the
Oh,
highway.
I know, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but there's no way around.
yeah, no, it's
It's a minimal
Yeah.
operation compared to the Galveston.
We actually did have the director of that operations down there visit with us here.
Oh,
Was
really?
he was our director at one time, wasn't he?
Well, he came down here on a
Right.
temporary basis
Right,
to
right.
straighten out
Yeah.
when we were
So
kind
since
of
I,
unruly.
with that gentleman, we've been talking about this same issue.
Well, like I said, the best thing's going to be is we can set up an opportunity for our folks to meet. We can work through the state rep's office, and we can make that happen. It's not a problem. So we'll come up with some information that we have that kind of current what we're looking at, what information we have that we can provide.
Well, I agree with Mayor. The first thing you need to do is eliminate any possible fraud.
Well, we've heard some stories, so.
I don't know, if that's the case, that would be a good place to start.
We appreciate the opportunity, and we'll certainly circle back and make sure I'll work with Ms. Ann. We can make sure we make something.
Well, on behalf of the chamber, we appreciate y'all
Yeah, thank
coming
you very
over
much.
here.
No problem.
Appreciate all you guys do.
Appreciate your quick response to Hwy87 with all the flooding and everything. So
And I'm always available if there's any concerns. I work directly with, I'm actually just a few doors down from Ms. Paul's office. So if there's anything I need to take to the district engineer, we can always work on that. But it definitely, when it's on the construction side or on the maintenance side, we'll work with Jamal and Joel really very well, making sure we're addressing any issues. And then we see the complaints and the concerns. We know it's a big deal to make sure we're addressing them. We don't want anyone to feel like they're not being, their concerns are not being addressed. We treat everyone, it doesn't matter if you're in the Woodlands or in Bolivar, if you're in Texas City, it doesn't matter. We make sure we address everyone's concerns equally. And we want to make sure we're accessible.
We appreciate the
Yeah, we
FaceTime.
do. Thank you guys so
The
much.
emails are great, the FaceTime, we appreciate it.
No, we don't. And I love coming down here.
Great.
It's nice to come down here. So it's I was born and raised in the city of Houston, so anytime I get out of the core of the city, I live in Pearland, but anytime I get out of the core of the city, it's always nice to come down here. It's very nice down here.
When you pull up to the ferry, you have to show the security guard there your pass
Yes.
to get in. Why can't they check the ID there and make sure the ID and the pass match up?
Oh, they do.
They do sometimes.
Oh,
They
do
do
they?
a spot check.
It just depends on either. We try to make sure we make that request.
But if you go out to my truck and I give you a signed deal so you can go get your own pass because it's that easy to get, who cares what ID you have? You know what I mean? There's no, like May said, if you get rid of the fraud, which that's the problem,
Right.
if the local shrimp salesman can get you one, then there's a problem.
Well, instead of confiscation, there should be, I know we have to pass something to it, fine.
For fraud?
I love the idea of it being a prescription.
Yeah.
If that's the way it's going to be handled. Good start.
I do know they pulled them when we've kept them.
Great.
We find out there's a situation where we have certain restrictions as well we have to follow. So we have to be mindful of that as well. But I do know when we've had some folks that had their passes taken and they come very angrily to our office demanding it back.
I know when you guys start checking them, it gets blasted on Facebook. I mean,
The word gets out.
in 5 minutes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you.
I'm not saying those people did anything wrong, but
Okay. We appreciate everything. We'll set up a meeting. I'll give you my card. So,
Thank you very much.
no, thank you.
Really do.
No, you guys always very important.